Mr. Darwin, thank you for agreeing to this interview. It's an honor. My students hope to better understand evolution and hear your thoughts on the common myths that have grown around it. Hopefully, you can set the record straight.
Thank you. It is strange that some of my ideas have become myths over time. I did not seek dispute. I sought only to describe what nature revealed to me.
First question. What are you famous for?
Primarily for describing natural selection. I also wrote a book called On the Origin of Species. It became very popular.
My second question is this. Many people today believe that humans evolved from apes. Did your theory claim that?
Certainly not. I never proposed that humans descended from apes living today. Modern apes have evolved just as long as we have, each lineage shaped by its own conditions of life. All I ever really said is that humans and other primates share a common ancestor, nothing more. The apes you see today have been evolving just as long as we have. Their line has been shaped by its own conditions. The likenesses we share aren't because one came from the other, but because we both descend from an old ancestor long gone.
My third question is, the phrase survival of the fittest is associated with your work. Does this mean only the strongest survive?
Ah yes, survival of the fittest. I did not coin that phrase, but adopted it from Mr. Herbert Spencer. I have often regretted doing so, for it has misled many. Fittest never meant the strongest or the fiercest. It simply means being best suited to its environment. Its fitness measured by adapting and leaving offspring. A creature that seems weak, yet produces many young, is in truth far fitter than a powerful one that leaves none.
Some have accused you of stealing your ideas from Alfred Russel Wallace. What is your response to that?
I did not. That accusation pains me deeply, because Wallace is a fine naturalist whom I greatly respect. The truth is, I had been developing these ideas since 1842, 17 years before publishing my book. I had talked about it with friends, but I hesitated to publish. However, in the early summer of 1858, Wallace sent me a manuscript with similar ideas. I was shocked with it. Wallace's essay was remarkably similar in structure to my ideas. It was then arranged that both our papers would be presented together, giving us joint credit. Wallace never accused me of anything. We stayed friends, and he kindly accepted my book when it came out. Great ideas sometimes emerge independently when the time is right.
Many people think of evolution as climbing a ladder with humans at the top. Is that really how you see it?
Not at all. That is precisely the wrong image. Evolution is not a ladder, but a branching tree. Life didn't rise toward humans as a goal. Evolution proceeded along diverging lines through time. It spread outward like branching limbs, each lineage following environmental pressures, shaping survival in countless ways. Each species alive today, whether human, butterfly, or bacterium, sits at the end of its own branch. No living species is more evolved than any other. All have been evolving for the same amount of time. A wheat plant isn't less evolved than I am, just because it can't speak or think. It is magnificently adapted to its existence, just as I am to mine. We are all cousins on the tree of life.
My next question is natural selection the only mechanism driving evolution in your theory?
No, though many people assume so. They also often believe evolution has a direction and goal. Natural selection is certainly the most important mechanism I identified, but I never claimed it was the only one. There is also what I called sexual selection, where mates choose partners based on certain traits. In many species, females are the ones choosing, favoring males with striking traits, like the peacock's magnificent tail. Then there are chance events shaping evolution, like storms carrying organisms to islands, isolating populations. Geographic isolation keeps groups apart, and over time, new varieties may arise and endure. Some traits show no clear benefit or harm, yet persist because they do not hinder survival. Evolution is more complex than natural selection alone, with several causes often acting together. Natural selection has been the main, but not exclusive, means of modification.
My next question is, how would you describe the variation that natural selection acts upon?
Good question. Nature is full of infinitesimal variations, tiny inherited differences between individuals. Over many generations, tiny advantages gradually add up and slowly shape new forms of life.
In your book, you wrote that all living beings may have descended from one primordial form. What made you believe that life has a single origin?
In On the Origin of Species, I argued that animals and plants seem to share many fundamental features. From this, by analogy, I inferred that probably all beings which have ever lived descended from one primordial form. Moreover, when we look at similarities in anatomy and in the fossil record across very different animals, it strongly suggests that different species share ancestors and have changed gradually over time. Thus, I suggested that life likely began from one simple ancestral origin, shared by all creatures. I did not claim to know how that first form came into existence or originally arose. I suggested that the evidence seems to point towards a branching tree of life with a common root. Over countless generations, natural selection favors traits that fit local conditions, shaping species in response to their environments.
How did your Galapagos-expedition advance your theory? And what popular claims about that visit are mistaken?
The Galapagos voyage in 1835 felt ordinary at first, mostly gathering specimens from each island we visited. I was expanding collections, describing creatures, without recognizing any deeper purpose. Only later did I realize that these observations hinted at geographic variation between the islands, and that the voyage itself did not create my theory, but merely provided facts I understood much later.
Which part of your theory were you least certain about? And where did you most clearly speculate beyond the evidence available to you?
My greatest uncertainty concerned heredity. I could clearly observe that individuals vary and that some variations are preserved through natural selection. Yet I did not know by what means such traits were transmitted from parent to offspring. I proposed provisional ideas, such as what I called pangenesis, fully aware that they were speculative. Natural selection itself rested on extensive observation and comparison, but without a true understanding of inheritance, the mechanism by which variation was maintained over generations remained incomplete. I expected that future research would clarify this weakness, and I considered my theory a framework to be tested and refined, rather than a finished doctrine.
Thank you, Mr. Darwin. In the years since your passing, we have learned a great deal more about evolution. My students and I are deeply grateful that you took part in this interview.
Thank you for having me. I wish you and your students all the very best with biology and the study of evolution.